What's good, you guys? Your boy Ben Mahari here, representing Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. Much love to all my subscribers out there and to all my LDBC brethren out there. Um, Personally, I wanted to say that these playoffs have been absolutely phenomenal. We've been getting a lot of exciting first round series, and we're nearing the end of the first round. And we're going to discuss the second round series between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets uh, tomorrow. So I'm going to drop a video about that for that tomorrow, around tomorrow, mid afternoon or something like that, to give my predictions on that because Game One is basically Saturday night. So it's going to be an exciting series. But I wanted to particularly talk about this situation here. I wanted to talk about the whole situation with Damian Lillard and his situation in Portland. And so as of right now, he is 30 years old and he's played his entire career with the Portland Trailblazers. All pretty much all since he was drafted at 2012, he's played his entire career with the Portland Trailblazers. And he's been improving his game every year and becoming one of the elite, scorers in the NBA. But no matter how much his game has raised to another level each year, it's just he's not been able to put it together in the 8 seasons he's been in the playoffs. Um, in 8 of those years that he's been in the postseason, he's been averaging 25.7 points per game, 4.5 rebounds per game, and 6.2 assists per game, while shooting 36% from three, 88% from the foul line, and also 41% from the field. So when you look at those numbers in his hindsight, it's pretty much he's been showing up every single postseason. But what generally has been the biggest problem for Damian Lillard, in my eyes, has been either the supporting cast or the coaching that Terry Stotts has been doing on the sidelines. And so, in the last 8 times they've been in the playoffs, they only made to one conference final. And so, Terry Stotts right now, who is the fourth longest tenured coach, among active coaches in the NBA since he became coach of the Blazers in 2012, he's only made you know, one conference final in those 8 years. And so, to me, what's going to have to happen in my eyes if Damian Lillard is going to stay long term with the Blazers, Terry Stotts has got to go. And I know that he's been the only coach that Damian Lillard pretty much has known. And so Damian Lillard has been the only franchise player that Terry Stotts has had. And the other thing too also is this. The other thing is that with also with stats, his lack of adjustments and his lack of deciding the lineups has been pretty much his Achilles heel. And considering how the Nuggets were dealt with when they lost, Will Barton and Jamal Murray, for the playoffs, and so the fact that Nikola Jokic was able to raise his game to another level and still that Damian Lillard was able to score at least 25 points per game in that entire series. Actually, no, let me take that back. 34 points per game in that entire series against the Nuggets and 10 assists per game, which also includes the 55-point explosion, including 12 three-pointers in game 5 when they lost in double overtime. You know, that's been pretty much his consistency. He always has been a guy that's never failed to show up in the postseason time. He's owned 2 clutch shots in his career. But the problem that I'm seeing with the Blazers is that there's the talent around him does not match what Damian Lillard needs right now to get himself over that hump. And right now he's entering 30 years old. Okay, by the time next season starts around, because his birthday is on July 15th, he's going to be 31 years old. And at some point, Father Time is going to catch up with Damian Lillard. It doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter when. It's only a matter of time. Just look at what's going on with LeBron right now. So the thing that's going to have to happen is that, to me, I believe that his time in Portland is running its final course, because I think right now the team cannot get any better to what the pieces of what they have right now. I like CJ McCollum, but he had a terrible series. He only averaged 20 points per game and only shot 41, pretty much shot at least 35% from the field, if my stats are correct. Let me check real quick. Actually, 46% from the field, and missed some critical shots in the losses between game 5 and 6. And so I think right now CJ McCollum's trade value has pretty much somewhat diminished, even though you can still trade for him and get something out of it. They're just missing that one final player that's make a difference player that's going to pretty much get them over the hump. With Carmelo Anthony, he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. I think his time is pretty much over with. He's 37 years old, and the style of ball that Portland likes to play, I just don't think it's just going to mesh well. I think I could see Carmelo Anthony, going into retirement. If he returns, I'll be very, very shocked. But I think right now, Terry Stotts has got to go. In my view, Terry Stotts has got to go, and their GM also has got to go too. There's got to be significant changes to really get this team going again. Now, if you're going to trade Damian Lillard, you got to get something out of it, though. The worst thing you could do at this point is let Damian Lillard walk as a free agent, and anger him to the point where he pretty much can walk away without getting any value out of it. Because in the history of point guards, there's only a matter of time before organizations, see your value diminish to a certain extent, and then they can pretty much trade you wherever they want to, without disregard of what you did for that franchise. Just look at what happened with Isaiah Thomas in Boston, or Oscar Robertson, or Nate Tiny Archibald. Those are the great examples. And so, to me, right now, the way I look at it is, Damian Lillard wants to play his entire career with the Portland Trailblazers. I mean, it's honorable of him to do that because he wants to win on his own terms. But if you look at the landscape of what the Blazers looking like right now, they're just not the team that's going to cut it, considering the fact that what Denver was able to achieve. And if they are able to keep Nikola Jokic, because I do believe that, you know, let me check real quick. I think he's a free agent, next season. You know, he's got at least 5 more years. And he's got at least 5 years on his contract, and so he's going to be a free agent in 2 years in 2023. If the Nuggets are able to convince Nikola Jokic to stay long term, and you know continue to build around Jamal Murray, and can somebody please tell Michael Porter Jr. to start playing smarter now? If Michael Porter Jr. becomes that difference maker player that I expected him to be coming out of the draft, then I think the Denver Nuggets are going to be the title contenders of the future, along with with the Phoenix Suns and the Utah Jazz, those teams. And so right now, it the way the West looks right now, I think the Western Conference is going to continue to stay loaded. And what's going to happen between both LA teams, between the Clippers and the Lakers. We don't know what will happen, what will transpire with LeBron and the Lakers, or either with Kawhi or Paul George. Uh, you know, Considering the fact that they're down, 3-2 against the Dallas Mavericks after coming back and taking 2 games in Dallas, then you blew another game in your own home building, and now you're facing elimination tonight. And so that's the way things are looking in the West. But the bottom line is that I think that Damian Lillard needs to, assess the entire situation and think to himself, is this the right time to leave Portland? Because as great as he's been during those 8 seasons in Portland, they've only made the conference finals one time, and 5 out of those 8 seasons they've been eliminated from the first round. And so you got to look at the situation to go, and you got to think to yourself, I put so much time into perfecting my craft, because he's one of those point guards that knows how to control pace. He knows when to turn crank things up or slow things down. He's methodical of how he approaches the game, not like Russell Westbrook when everything is full on full on put your foot to the gas pedal and keep on going. Damian Lillard is more controlled in that regard. But right now, I think that, in my personal opinion, that I think Damian Lillard needs to realize that it's time. That it's time to move on from Portland, and either possibly, I think that being traded to the Knicks could be a good thing, because looking back at that whole series against Atlanta, they're missing that one go-to guy that can get them guaranteed buckets for them. And I think that Damian Lillard could be that difference for them. RJ Barrett can be somewhat inconsistent, and Julius Randle was not postseason ready and took too many jump shots, in my view, instead of just keeping his big behind in the block. You know what I mean? But I think he could be a success in New York. The Clippers could be another team that could be in the mix. And so those are the 2 teams that I think that could probably benefit from having him on the team. And so Um, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. What Damian Lillard will decide to do. I think, in my personal opinion, he'll probably want to ride this out in Portland. But if things don't work out the way that he wants it, you know, at this point, then he's going to have to really suck up his pride and realize that, Portland's not meant to be to win a championship and may have to look elsewhere to do it. And so that's where I tend to think that things are looking right now. I just don't think Portland's that team that's going to get it done, regardless of what kind of pieces they bring in. They can't even bring in, top free agents to come over to Portland. I mean, this is hard to do in this landscape of the NBA. And so that's just my 2 cents about the whole situation. I wish him nothing but the best. He's been a fantastic point guard, and he's certainly going to be a Hall of Famer, down the line. But right now, his entire, chances of winning a championship may not be in Portland. It may have to be elsewhere. But we'll see what happens. He pretty much said on Twitter that, it's back to the drawing board, which means either he's going to decide to walk, or is he either going to decide to stay and ride this out in Portland. But we'll see what happens, though. We'll see what happens in the offseason. But let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll drop more videos during the weekend. But with that, I'm out. Peace.